to start the first meetup in Madrid of the Metaverse Summit. And we are going to, my name is Cristina Mateo, and I'm Vice Dean of IE School of Architecture and Design. And on behalf of IE School of Architecture and Design, on behalf of IE University and of our president, who will be addressing you in a minute, we wanted to welcome you. So please, let's have some welcoming words from our president, Santiago Iñiguez. Thank you for your attention.
Hello and welcome to IE University. My name is Santiago Iñiguez and I'm the president of this institution. I would like to welcome you to this conference organized by IE School of Architecture and Design on the Metaverse. This is one of the hot topics today, and I would like to thank Dean Marta Thorne and Vice Dean Cristina Mateo for organizing this event. Of course, my thanks go also to all the speakers who will participate today. The Metaverse provides us with a very immersive virtual world that makes it possible to gather together and socialize, play, and of course, learn. The Metaverse has lots of advantages, and I'm sure that you're going to explore them during this session. But let me also suggest ways in order to supervise how the Metaverse can be used in the best possible ways. For example, we all realize that it doesn't provide the best transparency, and that people can actually hide behind the avatars and pretend things that they are not. At the same time, allow me also to mention some precedents at IE University that have been released and implemented before entering the Metaverse. IE University, for example, was one of the first universities 22 years ago to enter high-quality online programs and hybrid formats. This has put us, as a university, across all the different blended programs in the top ranks of higher education. Our blended online programs that combine the best of the two worlds are actually highly ranked by recruiters, by graduates, and of course, by the students. Let me also mention some other initiatives that IE University launched in the past. For example, we were also one of the first entrants in Second Life, which was an earlier version of the Metaverse. We then created a virtual auditorium in a virtual island, and I still recall attending sessions with some other avatars who were actually listening to the lessons of some of our professors. In fact, the big advantage of IE in combining technology and applying it into learning has been actually how we gather together all the different routines and make our faculty make out the best of these methodologies that rely on hybrid formats. So what I hope is that you enjoy the conference today. Again, my thanks to the organizers and the speakers. And of course, what I hope is that you enjoy this session here at the campus of IE University in Madrid. Thanks very much and enjoy.
Well, very little to say or to add after the words of our president, Santiago Iñiguez, but perhaps if I can give some context about us organizing and also giving some thank you to the organizers of this event who came to us, to our university and to our School of Architecture and Design, and said that they were trying to organize this event in Madrid because there was a huge interest from many different fields, from the fields of entrepreneurship, from the fields of law, from the fields of architecture and design, the school that I represent, and video games. And with all these together and the three panels that they were organizing, we thought, well, yes, our university is the perfect location, and Madrid has to be the place to organize this. So that's why we are all here, and that's why I'm glad that we are here face to face, not only in the Metaverse, as we are as well, and through Zoom. So we have three different environments at the same time, and this is a very exciting opportunity. The way we will organize the sessions will be through three panels. The first one will be about marketing and branding strategies and we'll have 3 members of each panel and a moderator. So what we'll do is have half an hour for each panel and then a Q&A session so that you in the audience and those in the internet and in the metaverse can ask questions. So it's going to be quite fast and agile so that we can actually have a proper get together and interaction at the end. So the only thing that I am left to say is that we want to kind of take stock on the role of architects and designers. We have many in the audience here because we believe that they are the ones which are actually better placed to design this new decentralized, perhaps immersive environment. But we will talk a lot about many different things in relation to that. So the first panel, and I would like to invite to the stage to the members, will be, as I said, about marketing and branding strategies. And I would like to invite Macarena Estevez. She's a partner at analytics at Deloitte, and she was also a top voice 2020 in LinkedIn. So please give her an applause. Macarena. And also, I would like to introduce Alvaro Antoñanzas, who is actually the co-founder and COO of DeuSens. So welcoming applause for Alvaro. And also, third but not last, Emanuele Giusto. He's an awarded film director, a journalist, visual artist, crypto author, and author of the book, actually, Crypto Jungle, a low-cost Llega a las Finanzas. I'm sure that you will tell us more about it at the end. And of course, big applause. And I would like to also invite and thank as well the organizers, Yingzi Yuan. She's one of the founders of Metaverse Summit and one of the creators of this idea, the one who came with Fatima Monfarad, who I'll introduce later on. They came to us to IE to propose the idea of today's event. So please, Yingzi, come to us. And she's an expert entertainer and a strategy. So I leave the floor to them to moderate and have a huge exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And thank you, IE University and the amazing team for hosting us. So I'm really happy to be here to organize Metaverse Summit Madrid, which is an amazing place that I love and with a very vivid and dynamic ecosystem. So today we have in our panel 3 amazing speakers as well with a lot of things to share, I suppose. So could you please tell everybody more about yourself and what you've been doing either before or in Metaverse?
Well, as they said before, I am Macarena. I am partner in Deloitte. I am in charge of data analytics and AI. And I study the metaverse every day from a social and business point of view. I try to advise companies about the metaverse. And I see that everyone is talking about the metaverse, but it is not exactly clear what the metaverse is. So I hope that today it's going to be more clear.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm Alvaro, I'm the co-founder of DeuSens, and I'm here from the development perspective of the metaverse. In DeuSens, we've been developing virtual environments and virtual solutions in game engines since 2014. And when the pandemic came, we start development persistent worlds and all kind of virtual environments for events and these kind of things, which are like the background of what we are now calling the metaverse, I believe.
Hi, I'm Emanuele Giusto. The people call me Scantfish. I'm a journalist, but I'm also a digital artist. I also make films, like documentary films, and I had a deep experience in the crypto world because I able to understand what is going on with this crypto world. That's why I wrote this book. It is called Crypto Jungle. For now, it's in Spanish and Italian. It's called Crypto Jungla, the first title. And I explain in this place, in this book, what is going on and why the crypto is growing as much as the first economy in the world in 2021. It grows more than, for example, Apple or Bitcoin is the sixth asset after more than Tesla on Facebook. There are reasons. Also, the metaverse is an effect of this trend of the crypto world. So I'm here and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for this great, huge place to explain it. I will be just to show the reasons, because there are so many social reasons why this world is growing. I speak a lot.
Yeah, which is why we
Thank you.
invited you, right? So everybody has so many things to share, but yeah, let's take the time to the story. So you have 3 different backgrounds, 3 different domain, startup and more corporate company opportunities and more opportunities for like the whole society, right? So could you tell us more about what kind of opportunity did you observe that is in Metaverse for those different 3 different kind of actors?
We can change the order if you want. Doesn't matter. Okay, first of all, before answering your question, just to say that I see that everyone is talking about the metaverse, and for example, people invite me to see the metaverse, but I believe that the metaverse doesn't exist yet. And this is because the metaverse has 2 main properties. One is interoperability, and second one is persistence. And this means that the first one means that if you buy something in one part of the metaverse, for example, the central land, and then you go to Sandbox, you can bring this thing that you bought in the first virtual reality, no? And then persistence means that if something happens, for example, if you break a bottle in one metaverse in a disco, you are listening to someone singing, and then something breaks and you have here something, then someone is coming, and this is here because the metaverse is a space and is time. So for example, now is now here and is now in the metaverse, and the past is not here and it is not in the metaverse, and it is a space. And this means that if I am in one, in the name I use to these things that are today is like a small metaverse or maybe pseudo metaverse, but not really the metaverse. But if I am, for example, in II, for example, university, and I leave this here in the metaverse, and then you come in, this is going to be here. Mm-hmm. And this is the difference with gaming, because in gaming, when you start or you enter the game, everything is in the same position for everyone. And this is not in the metaverse, because the metaverse is like the physical reality, but just digital reality. Do you want to add?
I couldn't agree more about what you just said, because the metaverse is like this theoretical thing that it cannot be done with the technology today. That's a fact, actually. But what I believe and what we are actually doing now is taking this word metaverse, which right now represent an opportunity. It represents the opportunity for, in my field, brands and companies to interact with the audience in a way that they weren't doing just now. Because when the pandemic came, a lot of companies realized that their interaction, their virtual interaction through a web page or e-commerce, it was actually the same that it was in the early 2000s. I mean, text, videos, yeah, e-commerce, and that's about it. And then there is the gaming world, which is the biggest entertainment sector in terms of users, money, income, you name it. So for me, the metaverse right now is this opportunity to start taking the best things of the gaming industry and introduce it in our daily lives And I think brands are really into this right now because, again, they realize that when the world stopped for the pandemic, how they could create a more deep interaction with their audience. They couldn't. They only have Zooms. They only have these kind of weird interactions that all the companies on the development side, we have to rush into it. So I think this is something very important because a lot of people think that metaverse is a cursed word. It is a bad word because it is just this trend related to cryptos, which is going to explode tomorrow. So why they should, invest a dime into this? But this is also an incorrect thought because I think this is a great opportunity for everyone, for the social perspective, economic perspective.
Exactly. This is the point, because the metaverse is a fantasy, a science fantasy. It was born from idea in a book known as Snow Crash. But then the idea now is so important because, for my point of view, is important for the crypto technology that is going on in the new metaverse. And the crypto ideology is decentralized. Decentralized means that we are seeing that this is not necessary to have a central server, a central administration, or a central board in the companies. So in the crypto world, the company is no more like a feudal, pyramidal organization. It's a decentralized, autonomous organization. And this part is so important to understand because right now, in these days, also Europe is approving the regulation of that. And they recognize the DAO. The DAO is also in Wyoming is law. So you can create a Sociedad Limitada, LLC, or you can create a DAO. But the point now is important here in this panel to understand is the mentality, because the metaverse is the new frontier, not just because it's like a video game and you go. This is the part that Facebook understood, but this is not the important thing. The important thing that in metaverse, you own it. This is the point. You are the owner of the metaverse. You are there with the responsibility because the metaverse, for example, the Decentraland is a DAO, is a decentralized autonomous organization. So you are the owner of this space. You are not a product like now. And this is, I invite you to understand this point because this is the key point of our present and our future. We are in a situation where we are also expecting what dad or mom is saying. And dad or mom maybe is not a great character. They said, I protect you, I protect you. But in the new world, people would have the responsibility. So in crypto, I don't want to speak a lot about crypto, more about metaverse, but in crypto, you have your wallet and your money in your wallet. You know that. It's a common point. But what does it mean? That you don't need the intermediate of somebody who say that you have it. It's clear. This is the great point. So in the metaverse, people own the field, own the avatar, own, and also brands. A lot of brands are inside the metaverse right now. But the point of view is that this is a world where redistribution is the keyword. Redistribution. In the crypto world, the redistribution is the key. A redistribution is not just about monies, it's also responsibility. That's why all the people are, if you want to enter, for example, in my case, I want to make an exhibition of my art in the metaverse. So I have to construct it. I have to find an architect, a place where to do it. I'm a protagonist. I have not to wait some gallery that says yes, no, oh, no. I there to build something with other people, because networking is so important. So I invite you to think about this world in another way. We are in a verticistic, hierarchic world, but now we are entering in another world where the meaning of responsibility is of everybody, also decision, because, and I close, because for example, in the Decentraland, if you have the token of the Decentraland, you can vote the future of the Decentraland, because DAO concept is that the people who has the token also vote for the future of the token of the project, and this is so important because you are protagonist. You say yes? Okay, thank you.
Just to also to say something about brands. Some time ago, I was worried because I was thinking that the war was going globally, and it was day after day difficult to differentiate each brand from the other brands. No, but now the metaverse is a new big opportunity for brands. The other day, I was giving a speech to McDonald's, and it was very funny because in a moment, one of the person that were listening to the speech, she said, well, you are going to go to the metaverse to McDonald's, but if you are hungry, you are going to ask for a hamburger, but you cannot eat this hamburger. And I say, well, let me tell you a couple of things. When mixed reality exists, it is going to be possible that you ask for a hamburger, then this hamburger comes to your home, then you are going to contact to enter the metaverse and to be with your friends, and maybe you can eat the hamburger. But what is more important is that, of course, you are going to ask for a digital hamburger in the metaverse, because the metaverse is about social experience. And today, myself, is for me difficult to understand, but because I was born in the 60s, but people that is going to born in 2030, for them, life is going to be absolutely different. And of course, you are going to eat McDonald's digitally just because you are there with your friends and you want to eat this Mac.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all those great opportunities. Indeed, as every single panelist mentioned, interoperability, real-time data transfer, and also social interaction are like keys of metaverse. But after hearing all those opportunities, maybe we should talk about, the risks as well. So a lot of people, when they hear VR or metaverse, they think, okay, maybe people are gonna be just solo and in their VR headset, just playing games or something. How can we make tech a positive thing for the society, especially regarding the whole metaverse topic?
Well, you won't believe this, but actually this week I have the most surrealistic phone call I had in my entire life. And it was related exactly to this, to the risk of VR. Some mom called me because her son, her 27 genius son, which has this, it's not autistic, it's the, well, in the spectrum, they say, okay. Yeah. And the thing is that this person, which has avoided human contact his entire life, when he was 27 years old and the pandemic came, he was working and studying abroad. So he was alone in his flat, in his place, and he started interacting with VR. And he was completely hooked. And this mother was quite upset about this because this guy also is a genius. Apparently, he was like really top-notch scientist. Thing is, she told me that she was like very desperate about this and if I could help her. And the only thing I could say, because I'm not a psychologist or nothing like it, it was like, well, if your son, which has avoid human contact for 27 years, actually is in love with a person through an avatar in VR, maybe this is not such a bad thing, right? Because what is better for these people to avoid his feelings because he cannot interact with human eyes, because this is something really, really, really hard for these people. So I tell this mother, maybe this is not such a bad thing. Okay, this is obviously a very extreme case, okay? But about the risk, we are going to have all these associations about, you know, isolation, people that it's not having human contact anymore, and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, things evolve, and the users are the ones that, you know, get to the technology. I mean, this happens since forever. I mean, the technology is the enemy because it got the working people jobs and all these kind of things. This has been saying forever. And that's a complete lie. I mean, technology is there, and the humans, the people, is the one that uses the technology. So if you have this condition of, if you're very, you know, intense people, obviously they are going to exploit the technology and take them to some way that it's bad for these people, obviously. But this is not going to be the common thing. It's like gaming makes teenagers violent. This is, sorry, but this is bullshit, okay? So it is the same thing. I mean, risk, obviously, yes, everything has risk in this life, but it is just the technology evolving, and the society will evolve with it. And that's what I think about the risk, since I'm not a sociological person or whatever.
Yeah, just want to add on a small point regarding the amazing story that you shared. So Metaverse Summit is also in contact with Association of Neurodiverse People. Neurodiversity meaning that either autism or ADHD, people like especially little kids who cannot actually put their whole attention on a thing for a very long time. So a lot of different products and games and virtual world and metaverse are actually designed for this neurodiverse community to actually train, for example, their attention and actually to communicate with everybody in the community in a safe and non-judgmental place. So that's also how we can leverage different technology to make the world a better place for everybody.
Actually, is so interesting, that part, because, for example, in the book, I wrote about a personal experience in something that is called the Burning Man. I don't know if you know it. It's in the something going on in a desert of US, in Nevada, and where you feel right, whatever you are. And this is the point, no? In this kind of world, everything could be very big, very huge, very interesting. Everything. Also, the more surrealistic project could be interesting in the crypto or in the metaverse. And this is what I say in my book, is the multiplication of values. In our society right now, it seems that if you product and if you sell is the only way to be success, to have success. Also, money is. Money pass through, for example, the banks, and the banks will give the money only to productivist projects. Metaverse and crypto world are growing without any foundation. It's just people that put the money in project that they believe in. And it means that it's growing all kind of project, all kind of people, all kind of whatever. So it could be very surrealistic. It seems very strange. It's very difficult to understand. For me, it was very difficult to write this book to understand all this stuff. But when you understand the logic, it's so interesting, because you can do what only fantasy can block you. And for example, I just come from the Avalanche Summit in Barcelona. There was an NFT of a piece of art in a gallery. They selected my piece of art. I met a so strange society there. And this is the risk part for me. It's very interesting and is an opportunity for everyone. That's why I invite you to, I say it always study and they misunderstand me, but to find information and to understand what is going on because it's very important for you. But the risk for me is that all this world is growing just with the mind of people that are programmers or engineers. Rational minds. There are no humanistic people there in the creation of all this environment. No, is a reflection of rational mind. And because you have to, for example, I agree with you, but just because of the core business of the crypto world as an ideology, but now is growing in so hyper-capitalistic way. So you have to we have to take care to don't repeat the same problem of the actual system that we have. And for me, the actual system has two big problems. One is the lack of power. Moises Naim wrote a very important book about the lack of power. The End of the Power is Moises Naim. I suggest as a book very interesting. And because in this system is impossible to decide anymore. For example, the COP26 of Glasgow, in one point, very important point, as the climate change, we cannot have a reaction of our society about something that brings us to the collapse. And this is a great point to understand that the actual system is not efficient anymore. The war is another example. It's not efficient. Who wants the war right now? It's not efficient system if few people decide with bad decision for everybody. That's why DAO and the decentralized system is so important. And the other problem is that in our productivist system, we have a lot of wasted energy, also human energy. For example, there is a book of an anthropologist from Oxford called David Graeber that I suggest you. Is called Bullshit Jobs, because many people, 30% of British, as was in the book, is YouGov research, say that they are doing so unuseful, totally unuseful jobs. We are producing, but we need other things. We have to put monies and energy in other things and not just to product. Because if everybody in the world will consume like US and Europe, we need 5 suns, the sun on the sky, 5 of energy suns. So this system that we have right now is no more efficient. We have to find another system. In this another system, that this is crypto and metaverse are the manifestation of a necessity, is a system where everything and everybody could give something to society in several incredible, several and surrealistic ways.
Thank you. 2 things about risk. 1, regulation. 2, ethics. Regulation, I think that the problem here, and listening what you said before, and I was in a meeting with gamers and people from law, and it was like a battle between 2 very different worlds. And the problem is that a lot of gamers are pushing this, no? And they know a lot about virtual reality and these things, but in gaming, you can be whoever you want to be, you can do whatever you want to do. But if Metaverse is going to be the parallel universe to our real life, this is not gaming, and we need to regulate things. I talk a lot with Meta, with Facebook, and they always tell me, well, you know, the regulation is always still there, very far from the present. And we try to regulate by ourselves, but then everyone criticizes this because it is not fair that we are the ones that regulate our world. No? So regulation is a key issue, and we still don't know what is going to happen. And then ethics, because today we have problems with data, with fairness, and the data in the metaverse is going to multiply a lot, because we are going not just to know where are you and the kind of things that you are buying, we are going to know where are you looking, how are you feeling. So we are going to know a lot about each person, and then we are going to do things as they do things, no? And what are we going to do with humans? Are humans going to lose the freedom, no? The possibility to think out of the box? So all these are small risks that maybe can be big risks, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just to wrap it up, do you want to add on something for the question? We talk about like state of art, the opportunities, the risks, and of course, involving different industries and actors, gamers and regulators, right? So maybe let's do a bet today. So what do you think Metaverse would be from like a storytelling point of view in a short future, let's say 2 to 3 years, or in a long-term future, 5 to 10 years, just to like a short description of both.
Okay, so that's playing the guessing game,
Definitely.
right? Well, if right now is this explosion for brands to, try to think in a different way, in a more gaming or engaging kind of virtual thing, I think in 5 years, it will really depend on which one wins the battle, centralized or decentralized, because that's something really, really important. I do. Yeah, probably. Yeah, the middle term is always the best thing, right? But this is something really important because we have these really big players like obviously Meta and Microsoft, which are going to invest a lot of money. I mean, ridiculous money into this to game the war, right? To win the war. But also what it is very important, and the internet put this into manifestation, is that the internet, I agree, is the people's will. And this is not always a good thing, right? Because their will, what they want, that's the beauty of the internet, the freedom of the people. So regulating also this is it also, in my opinion, it goes a bit against the spirit of the internet, right? So I don't really know. I believe it will be a hybrid in decentralized and centralized environments, but obviously Web3, the idea is that it's running in the decentralized systems. So I don't know. I think it will be the best of both worlds, but I agree that the user will have the control, and I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, exactly. The point is the Web3 is on blockchain, and so is decentralized, and so this is our alternative. So I don't think there is a war. Actually, is the problem also in the media. You can see always, oh, crypto, Bitcoin, bad or good. No. Bitcoin and the decentralized mentality or the blockchain mentality is just, I call it like a wheel. If you invented the wheel, who is going to just arrastrar? I don't know. Anyway, to take your baggage without the wheels. Nobody. Everybody. Also, the banks are inside the crypto world. Immediately inside the crypto world is something that works better. Also, if I have to see the future, also in parliament. in decision of our society, we will use a different scheme. Same people, same citizens, different organization, just because it's better, not because it's a war or somebody will win against you. No, it's just a better way because the system right now is not good. We have a pandemic of depression. The blockbuster drug is the Prozac. Why? The bullshit job is a reality. You know about the big quit. Why people are leaving the work? Just because they are crazy? No, because the situation, the quality of life and the happiness is going down and down and down. And the products are going up. For what? We are collapsing. We have to change. It's not a decision and everybody knows it. That's why people are choosing. You want to stay in a pyramid or hierarchy because you feel good. Stay there. Nobody will tell you to don't do that. Just add a lot, tons of other people will not follow this scheme.
So
That's
the
it.
future is kind of like decentralized. That is the future, right?
But this is the present.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and
the
hopefully
present.
the future as well.
The
It's,
point, just 1 minute to explain. For example, the example of McDonald's. The interesting point of this kind of world is that you go there, the identity. This is very, very central word. The identity. In the new world, the identity is so important, but it's not a curriculum. It's just pop or POAP, you said. It's our token of participation. Now, in the metaverse, you will have in your wallet the participation of the summit, of this summit. And so, in your next contact with another situation, everybody will know that you were here.
yes, it's
and
a proof
participating
of,
of the so the
proof
the
of
example,
attendance
the
protocol.
example you made about the McDonald's. In the metaverse, you will have a token of McDonald's, and you will use also this token in the real world. Maybe having a hamburger, maybe, or whatever.
Fantastic.
It is very difficult to look at the future, to imagine the future. I hope that in 1 year, at least understand the concept, at least. No. Then in 5 years, maybe to have a first version of the metaverse. Who knows if it's going to be decentralized? Of course, it is the key point, but we are full of companies that have a lot of things to sell, a coin to defend. We have a government, we have our world, and this world also want to be part of the metaverse. And if this comes, then regulation comes, and who knows, no? Then in 10 years, I believe this is going to be a reality, a real reality. And I listened to someone saying that metaverse is virtual reality, but it is also augmented reality and mixed reality. We are going to spend maybe an hour and a half in virtual reality. They say that it is actually, but they believe that this is going to be the same in some years. You can't spend more than an hour and a half or 2 hours in virtual reality. So instead of going to the cinema, you are going to spend a while in virtual reality. But then augmented reality is something to be part of our lives minute by minute. And this is also something that in general, we talk more and more about virtual reality and less about augmented reality. But I think the possibilities for companies and for our personal life are incredibly enormous, no?
Yeah.
So, but I think that in 10 years, the world is going to be quite different to the world we have today.
Yeah, hopefully we are all part of building the positive decentralized future of Metaverse. Thank you for sharing all the stories and insights, and looking forward to having more projects and more books and more different companies coming on board. Thank you, everybody. Questions? So before leaving, if anybody in the room has some questions for our amazing panelists, please there in the middle.
Thank you. All right. So I was saying, thank you very much for the talk. It was really interesting. For me, to the metaverse success, interoperability between metaverses have to exist. How do you think this problem is going to be solved? Like for NFTs, crypto, and between chains? Thank you. Interoperability.
Interoperability.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that is trying to be solved right now. I don't know if you know Ready Player Me. This is a really, really interesting concept, which is avatars, like IDs based on blockchain. So the idea here is that you go through their environment, their blockchain. So you have your identity with this platform. So they, as a development company, create APIs to be integrated in the platforms that are out there. For example, they have an API for Decentralization, they have an API for Sandbox, they will, I guess, have an API for Meta. What does this mean? That you, with your same identity, are going to be present with all your record in these different environments, because this is what actually the metaverse is. It's a expanded network of worlds. It's not just one world, it's a network of worlds. So right now, as far as I am concerned, this is the best thing I've come across to solve the problem of interoperability.
Mira, listen, in the crypto world, for example, you can imagine the crypto world as a universe. In this universe, there are constellations. Every constellation is a blockchain. And in between the blockchain, there are still problems. There are bridge, they are building bridge. And there will also internets, they call, that unify all the constellations, okay? For example, there is a huge project called Polkadot that is doing that. And this will happen also with the metaverses, the different metaverses. I think also metaverse is very different. Metaverses like Meta of the Facebook and the decentralized metaverse could be that they will speak each other in some way. But we have to wait. But we have to know also that many people every day are working, programming everything, because Bitcoin, for example, is not just a cryptocurrency and this is there freezed there. No, it's going on, it's updating every time. And Ethereum, you know, that is the first part of the revolution, is growing every day. And there are thousands of companies working for that, because the point will be, you as a user, where do you buy the token? Where you will be? In which one? I feel that I want to spend my life in Meta. Okay, like now with the accounts, you know, I choose, and then I can live half-life there and half-life there, and pick something good in Meta, and pick and have other experiences in the Decentralized. You will choose.
Maybe we have time for another question.
I was just going to comment about interoperability. So interoperability is going to be a progression. So you'll slowly see more and more interoperability occurring. But about 5 or 6 years ago, a PhD researcher, Kim Nevelstein, actually solved interoperability between Minecraft and Doom. So you could go from Doom with your armor, walk into Minecraft, and inside Minecraft, you'll have leather armor. Then we look at the metaverse platforms. I like to call them metaverse platforms, Decentraland and the Sandbox. There are some grants with the Decentraland DAO that are focused on connecting Sandbox and Decentraland together. So once we see those two platforms together, I guess that's the first example of metaverse interoperability, and it could only just keep getting better slowly over time.
One more question.
Thank you. Very interesting. And I agree. And at the end, when interoperability will be all around everything, then we will have the real metaverse. Yes, of course.
Also there is a point that to be total the inclusion of the metaverse, we should have a great computer in our house, because now if you have a normal computer, doesn't work very well. It's very slow. It doesn't work. So also the computer of the users would be, I think, getting better, because if not, it's impossible to enter.
Yeah. The thing about metaverse is every single block needs a very long discussion. So unfortunately, we don't have that much time, but welcome to join our networking session afterwards to ask your question to the speaker as well. So yeah, thank you all the panelists, and thank you everybody for your attention as well. Welcome to our great moderator. Thank you. Left here.
Yes.
Oh, it's a fake, right?
Oh, it's a kind of, oh, it has a, okay. All right.
Like behind. Like on this pocket.
No creo. What, we start in like 10
Okay,
minutes,
yeah.
no?
Now I should stop shouting. Okay, so we are going to have second panel.
Oh,
The
yeah,
second panel is going to be about the future of gaming in the metaverse, and we have two panelists and a moderator. So I'm going to invite them to come here. I hope they haven't me, just like this. Is abandoning me from time to time. So I would like to ask Francisco Asensi Viana to come here. I hope that he's around. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Francisco. Please give him an applause. Francisco is a senior advisor at Spain Audiovisual Hub at the Ministry of Economy and Digital Affairs. And I'm really glad because it's great. Okay, well, what would we do without technical problems, as we said, and having the different worlds, the virtual and the physical intertwining. So as I said, Francisco is actually a great example of having people from the public sector. And this in this summit is a great to have a mixture of private and public sector together. I would like to invite as well Iskren Mitov, our second panelist. Iskren, please an applause, thank you. Iskren is actually the founder and CEO of REDSA, and that's an acronym, and that's actually a post-apocalyptic metaverse. And I believe you are from Salamanca, is that right? So it's good to have people from young people with, up and coming career, and he's been actually one of the best young entrepreneurs. So great to have both of them here. And last but not least, we have our moderator, Amin Khaladi. Please, Amin, join us here. He's the co-founder at Play, and that's a Play to Earn, a startup based in Madrid. So I will let them speak about the future of video games. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cristina and Iskren and Francisco. Welcome. I would like to start this panel by speaking to you a little bit about what you think. First of all, introduce yourselves and let us know how you got into this gaming and metaverse as a first step.
Okay, so I don't know. You hear me? Yes. You are here?
No.
Maybe. Hola. Sí. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me in this Metaverse Summit. Well, I'm Francisco Asensi, and well, I am working for Spain Audiovisual Hub. That is a project from the Ministry of Economical and Digital Affairs, but I am not part of the public sector. I work for the public sector, which is something that is perfect because I am in touch with the industry from the point of view of the government, but at the same time, I am part of the industry. So I am in the middle of both worlds. Well, I consider myself like an explorer. I'm not absolutely an expert in the metaverse. I think that the metaverse is a kind of new territory, a new planet that we all are exploring. Maybe I started to explore at the beginning in the first age of the proto-metaverse when I was working for the public service broadcaster in Spain, RTV, and then we thought that it was a good idea to create a virtual world associated to a TV series. So we did it, and it was like a very, very interesting experience because we learned a lot, and I learned a lot about how things will be in the future when the users will be in 3D worlds, and they have the opportunity to interact within these 3D worlds. I will say also that for me, gaming, and this was told, I think, in the previous panel, gaming is in the middle of the entertainment industry at this time. And for me, it's the present and the future of the metaverse. And that's all by now. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for the invite. Well, my name is Iskren, and I am first of all, I am a gamer, and second, I'm an entrepreneur. So I've been a gamer my whole life, right? And I started as an entrepreneur in the blockchain sector back in 2017 with a social network, actually, that was like used to earn with advertisement. And then back in September last year, I tried out like all of these play to earn projects that are out there. That most of them are actually click to earn and not play to earn. And like from the gamer perspective or the gamer point of view, what I found out is they are not interested at all to play. It's basically go into a website, click a button, and that's it, right? And you can earn something. But outside of the money point of view or the reward point of view, there is nothing interesting in those kind of games. And all of the incoming games in the near future are also kind of the same or have the same type of game, right? So back then I just talked with a couple of friends that are also gamers as me and have worked in the gaming sector, developing video games, and yeah, we managed to get a team of 19 people when we started a project by ourselves. And what we are trying to build actually is a post-apocalyptic metaverse that is something that is connecting multiple video games between each other and giving players the possibility of earning rewards by playing the game, but also with the NFT factor and everything, but focused not in blockchain gamers or players that only want to earn money. We are focusing it on traditional gamers. It's a free-to-play game, and we are doing it everything transparently. So a normal user shouldn't know what a wallet is, for example, in order to be able to earn rewards, right? And I think that is the future of this sector, because in order to have the traditional gamers enjoy that, join all of these metaverses and all other play-to-earn games, you have to make the solution transparent to them and not have a learning curve or an initial investment required.
Super, that's very interesting. I want to catch up on the game and the earning mechanism, because as you said, we would like to see more and more like AAA games that are really interesting to the gamer to play. How do you go about the decisions in your game? So what would you define as something that is traditional gamer friendly, or rather something that is totally blockchain based and just for earning money? How would you go about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, traditional gamers are basically all of the video games that are out there that do not have any blockchain technology inside. So the difference is very clear. We also have a third part, which is the competitive gamers, right? Me myself, I'm an ex-competitive gamer on an esports level. And there are different type of points of view, right? The traditional gamer is a casual gamer that only plays on the free time, and his goal is just to have a good time, right? The competitive gamer is there to earn money from playing, but earn money or reputation and not money as rewards like the blockchain gamers. And then the blockchain gamers are just there for the rewards, right? They buy NFTs, they buy token, or they invest the game in the early stage, trying to obtain any kind of reward or return of investment in the future, right? So we believe that that the future of this sector is the mix of the three parties, right? Something that can be a solution for, like, for example, a future esport video game that can offer solution for both competitive players, traditional, and also the blockchain gamers. So that's what I think. It has to be a mix between all of it. It has a solution for everybody.
Great, great, thank you. And just a question that is specifically for you, Francisco, is how, so when we talk about Metaverse, now, who are the key enablers of Metaverse, or who are the key demographics that are most prone to engage with this Metaverse?
Well, currently it's clear that it's the people that comes from the video games, because for them to live a digital life, something a deep digital life is something that is normal, is their life. So for them, they are used to spend a lot of time within these worlds coming from the video games. And video games, they are no more just playing. They are also to socialize, to learn, even to get married, because people get married in WoW, at World of Warcraft. So they are used to that. Even I used to say that for many people from video games, gamers, they don't mind if we call this metaverse or not, because for them it's a thing that is not important, because they are already there. They are living that. They are exchanging things, digital assets, as they usual life. And the sample is me. Maybe I'm not the target that you are referring to, because the target is younger. But I spend a lot of time at Animal Crossing, for example. I don't know if you know that game. For many people, Animal Crossing doesn't have nothing to do with Metaverse. But the truth is that I spend a lot of time. I built my house. I visited some museums. I go to to fashion events to other islands. I don't know if you know something about Animal Crossing. They are different islands, and even this game evolves at real time. So if it now is New Year's Eve, so you celebrate on real time that event. So it's very interesting how life is in this kind of platforms. But going to your question, yes, if we think in gamers that play at these platforms like Animal Crossing, Roblox, Minecraft, they are young people. They are the people from 16, even less, to 30 maybe. So that's the first wave of humans being used to be involved at the metaverse in the sense of having a digital life, because metaverse, it was told before also, metaverse doesn't exist. It's just a concept. It's like cyberspace. We call the internet from the beginning cyberspace, but this cyberspace doesn't exist. It's just a concept, right?
How about you? I would like to have your opinion on that. Like, since you are yourself a gamer, do you feel that? Like, do you feel that the fact that you're a gamer and you're interacting your whole life with 3D environments, maybe even you got to the point of interacting with VR, that makes you more prone to use the metaverse? I would say think just about Sandbox or Decentraland.
Yeah, basically what the goal of the metaverse is basically GTA roleplay. I don't know if anybody knows GTA, Grand Theft Auto, the game. There is an option that basically players just mod or put mods into the game that that allows them to basically personalize the experience and do whatever they want and have a job into the GTA and whatever. So basically you create your own character and you can be whoever you want to be. So GTA is a game from 2013. GTA Roleplay started a couple years after that, and it is basically a metaverse. And Minecraft also has roleplay, Rust, and many other games. And I think gamers do understand and do know what metaverse is, and they are really prone, myself as well, to use it. And I think it's a great idea. But I don't think virtual reality is there yet. I think, for example, I don't know in the United States, for example, but in Europe or at least in Spain, I don't know anybody that has a VR. Any of my friends has a VR. So I think it's not there yet. There's not that many people yet, and I think it is the future, yes, but still not there. I think maybe 5-10 years probably. It is either there or it's not there at all. So there's two options. But I think right now, currently, the best option is just to go for 3D game, basically like all of the games are currently, and just exploit this, use this type of technology for a metaverse. That's what I believe.
Perfect. Yeah, and go ahead.
Yes, I fully agree with you because we speak about a lot about VR. And VR is not the main thing in the metaverse. It's in the way, and in the future, things will be, more virtual than currently. But the truth is that if we think in a massive use of the metaverse, VR is a kind of, small thing because, as you say, many people doesn't own its own equipment. So AR is more important because AR let us to get into the metaverse or in some features of the metaverse at this place. I can access to different things. And in that sense, it's very, very interesting. Also, all related to digital twins, for example, to scientific things that we can allocate in the reality in order to get for example, information about a new product, a new car, or a new kind of service that we want to test in the reality, but without not risk. We don't need, to crash cars to test its security because we can crash cars that are synthetic, that are virtual. And this is an industrial use that is going to be very interesting. And by the way, people that is working on that things comes from video games because the technology that is being used are game engines and other programming languages that comes from the gaming. And it's very interesting to think that, as I say, gaming is in the middle of the entertainment, but it's also in the middle of the industry because professionals coming from the video game are very, very necessary to build what we call the metaverse.
Great. You can give that. Yeah, okay. So I wanted to zoom out a little bit and go back to the main question, which is what is the future of gaming, And we are talking about from the previous panel about decentralization and how important it is the concept of ownership. So as Emanuele was saying, when you're in Decentraland, you actually own a piece of the project. Everything from a collectible to a hat to an accessory is something that is in your wallet. So how does that affect the future of gaming? First of all, for you, Eastern, as you are developing a play-to-earn game, and in general, as the practical reality of the metaverse and ownership of things.
Okay, so I believe, yes, ownership is something that is very, very important, and that gives, if the player has a chance to own something that is in the game, it's way better. And it's a motivation also for the player to earn it or just buy it or whatever method they use. But for me, for example, I'm not a big fan of the current metaverses just because they are made by businessmen for businessmen, right? I don't think it is a gamer approach, at least for now. I'm saying that as a gamer myself. But for example, there are other projects, also Spanish project like Outer Ring, for example, or ourselves at Res, that we are building actually a product for gamers, by gamers, for gamers. It's different approach, I believe. And for example, both Outer Ring and us, we are building a video game that or many video games that are integrated between each other and that have this city or place where you can just role play or talk with others and engage with others and do all this stuff. But on the other end, you have all of these business approaches that are basically, how do I say it? An approach where basically you can have land, you can build on this land, but what for, right? To business or to sell something or to show something, showcase or whatever. I think they are great, the approaches, but they are not focusing of the main users of these kinds of technology, the gamers. And I think they'll probably do in the next years because sooner or later they'll notice this, that real players don't engage or don't use that much their technology. So in order to get more users, they'll probably add this type of approach, right? More of a gamer stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, speaking about property as a general thing, property at the metaverse is is something that is very liquid, because it's not like the property of things. It's something that is clear. But what I mean is that well, we have those NFTs that is a kind of to use the concept of ownership in a different way, but really is a kind of, I will say, value, something that I can exchange during some time, because it's not forever. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, everything that is digital depends on the technology and on the platform. And the owner of the platform is really the owner of everything. So that's not different from my point of view in the metaverse. The difference is that I have the opportunity to participate in that property, in that ownership. And even I can create new things, new designs, buildings, everything, where there are a kind of right on that, as if I, record music or something like that. But the truth is that these new considerations about property and IPs and ownership are still to be written, because the law is not so flexible today to understand or to get into the regulation what that means when we call about this kind of properties, or even participative properties, maybe we can call it. It is something that remind me the beginning of the open source and these kind of things, where people collaborate to create new software, and no one was the owner of that. It was the community. It's more complex in the metaverse because there are these new tools, these new mechanisms like NFTs and assets that are based on blockchain that make that more complex to define.
And I have one last question for you guys. That's the truth. So is the future of gaming decentralized or centralized, a hybrid? based on tokens? Does it have to be play to earn? Does it not have to be play to earn?
I highly believe that yes. In the near future, I believe like in 3 years max, there is going to be a revolution in gaming, right? Because as a gamer, if like I like to spend money in games, right? Because I'm a gamer, I like to have a better skin than the others or look more exclusive or whatever. But to be honest, if I have the chance of earning rewards by playing the game that I love to play, I would rather be playing the whole day this game. If of course the reward is enough, I'll even quit my job. So I highly believe that this is the future of gaming. Right now, the solutions that are more popular right now or that are talked about are click to earn projects, right? Because all of the play to earn right now, they are in the making, right? There is no real play to earn solution out there yet. I'm talking about Illuvium, Star Atlas, whatever. They are still in the making. They are not a released product yet. And all the released products are actually not real games, right? And that is why there is so much hate by the gamer community into the blockchain technology, right? Because you cannot tell me or sell me that what you have is a game, and when I enter to play, you make me pay at least 100 or whatever it is, and then I just have to click a button. That's not a game, and that's not enjoyable. And real gamers are not gamers because of the money. They are gamers because they enjoy. And that is why I believe there is going to be in the near future not one, but many play-to-earn projects that are going to succeed. And once they do, all of the people that enter these games just because they see or find the game as funny or entertainment, they are going to realize that they can also earn money because of the blockchain technology, the tokenomics, the token and everything, the NFTs. And that is when people are going to realize the real use of this technology, right? Not now when all the projects are basically, I don't have anything, but I sell you this NFT that in the future is going to be 10 times higher the price, or I sell you this token and they don't have a product. Right now, it's not a good approach, and what companies are doing is basically going for the money in the early stages. They are not building a real product, and that is why I believe some play-to-earn projects are going to create a revolution in the gaming industry, and it is going to be decentralized, but not fully. They are going to be fully decentralized organizations, yes, but all of these traditional gaming companies that are going to either sell NFT collections at at token into their platform game or whatever, but they won't be fully decentralized, at least the traditional ones. But they'll start migrating because, for example, many games like Fortnite, for example, the skins of Fortnite could be NFTs perfectly, and this applies to many other games, FIFA, NBA, whatever game it is. They could be selling NFTs and not in-game assets, for example. And yeah, I think that's the future of gaming.
Yes, I fully agree. Rewards are part of the game, and even not just for playing. Rewards are important, for example, in Twitch, just for watching others play. So if you want, a kind of drop in a new game, you watch the number of hours necessary to get the drop. So rewards are part completely of the future of gaming, and not only in gaming. Rewards are going to be important to watch TV, for example. There are people speaking about watch to earn. That is the model of Twitch. Watch to get rewards. But it's also about centralization and decentralization. We don't really know, because internet at the beginning was decentralized also, and now is managed by central companies or big companies. So the market at the end of the day rules. So although the idea, in ideal world, in ideal meta world, everything is going to be decentralized. Maybe it's not going to be like that. maybe some companies are going to dominate the field. So I think that we can think about in a world where there are centralized worlds, but with soft, with low friction. You know, like it's the case of Roblox, for example, centralized, but there's low friction. You can get into the Roblox and create your own experience in an easy way. Of course, you need to understand how the Roblox studio works to create your own game. So I think that is going to be in that way, but it's going to be more important. For example, VR. Now we say VR is like a small thing, but in the future it's going to be important. So immersion in the video game industry is going to be more and more important next years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys very, very much. And if you have any question from the public, it's about time. Yeah. Go ahead. Well, Mike, here in the front, second line.
Yes, this screen. Yes, so you are building a gamified economy where we didn't mention really the economic aspect. Yeah? Can you tell us more about the gamified economy you're building and the elements?
The tokenomics, you mean?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what I mean, there the differentiation, the main differentiation between a click-to-earn economy and the play-to-earn economy is the long-term sustainability about this economy. For example, there is a concept that is player-based economy, for example, that the players give actually value to the economy, to the token and to the NFTs. And I think that is the future, right? Building something that is not short-term, like all of these click-to-earn projects that basically aim to give a lot of rewards at the beginning. And then when people stop coming, when new players stop coming or stop arriving into their game, the value of their token just drops a lot and the project disappears, right? And I think the future is in building a sustainable economy that is built for the long term, right? Where all of the rewards, all of the public sale allocations, and also even the team allocation, they have to be unlocked in a long period, right? Yearly, monthly, or whatever, but in a long period. And a long period, I mean at least 8 to 10 years. I think that is the future, like a long-term based economy or tokenomic system.
I will add that I don't see. I mean, there is a difference, but at the end of the day, is a crossover between gaming economy and creators economy. Because I mentioned before Animal Crossing, I can design my own design within the gaming, and I can sell it, of course. At this time, Animal Crossing is no blockchain thing, so I cannot sell you an NFT. But I can develop. It is possible to develop a game, an experience, as it's called at Roblox, and to earn money with that experience or with elements for different experiences. The last year, according to the Roblox numbers, they give 328 million to gamers, to people developing gaming. So that's part also of the gaming economy and the future of the gaming economy.
Any other questions? Yeah, you have one there.
Thank you. I had a question for, is it Iskren? Earlier, or a few seconds ago, you said the future looks like vesting periods of 8 to 10 years. Accepting that this is, an Eldorado, do you think investors would realistically wait 8 to 10 years to see their money back? When, now, within sort of like max 2 years, they can automatically do like 20, 30 X's.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about vesting period, and also it depends, right? I'm talking about unlocking the token. For example, many projects unlock all of the public allocation token at the start of the public sale, right? You can sell, for example, 20 million tokens in May this year, for example. While you can do is just sell 1 million per month during whatever time it is, right? 20 months. Or even control it with an oracle that depending on the growth of your user base, then you can sell more or less the next month, right? So having that, you can control the token price, not by selling everything when it is high, but in the other end, just selling less when it is when the price is low and selling more when the price is high. So you try to stabilize the coin, and I think that is the goal. And on the other side, on the investor side, I also highly believe that you shouldn't create a project and sell high amount of tokens to a particular investor, right? Because this investor is then a whale into your project, and he can basically bring all the project down. What we are doing is basically having a max amount of token that a user can buy. It doesn't matter if it's an investor or a regular user, it's the same amount for everybody. That avoids whales.
Great. Thank you, guys. If Francisco have nothing to add, I would like to thank you. And yeah, we'll see you around later.
I don't know, you can hear me? Yes, I can hear that you can hear me. So we are going to start with panel 3, which is about entrepreneurship. And I think that so far we've already heard some examples of entrepreneurship. But this is going to be specifically addressed. So I would like to invite to the stage to 3 people. Adonis Zacariades, please, Adonis. Co-founder and COO of Renova. Applause. Thank you, Adonis. And also, I would like to also invite Luca Arrigo. Don't know if you have Luca here. Yes, who already made very good questions already. So, a co-founder at Metaverse Architects. And also we have also Joy Katarina Locke-Schierning. Thank you. And it's great to see also a woman in the panel, because one of the things that people were telling me at the beginning is that, wow, the number of male versus female is quite unbalanced. So it's great that we have a bit of an equilibrium. And just to top up that equilibrium and balance, we are going to have our moderator, Fatima Monfarat, who is actually an architect, and also she's here, I believe. Fatima? Oh, yes. Okay. She's also founder and chief metaverse architect at Spaces, and she's one of the persons who actually suggested to have this event. So I'm really glad that they're all here. So big applause for all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm told that I'm missing one more person to have the balance. So Monica, please, if you're here. And so Monica, maybe you can tell us, because I'm sorry, the balance is wrong on my side. And tell us directly your role and what did you do?
Yeah, I was the last edition, so it's okay. I'm the former director of operations at Aragon One, which is a DAO platform. And right now I'm executive coach to some Web3 entrepreneurs. And I'm also contributing to Status, which is a decentralized app for messaging.
Excellent balance. So great. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to the speakers for coming. I'm really excited to have this very balanced panel here. Thank you. I wanted to start with asking you all to explain a little bit about your journey and what brought you to the metaverse. Do you want to start with, like, explaining to us and telling us the journey you took to come to the metaverse and practice within the metaverse?
Yeah, so absolutely. My name is Joy, and yeah, I'm so grateful to be here today. It's just been fascinating listening to everybody speak from the different perspectives that they are able to share from the experiences that we're acquiring in a completely new space, which is about to have its run. And it's just really great to be a part of the early adopters here. To be here for the opportunity, right? I mean, in the end, that's why I would say we're probably all here, is to hear about how we can learn, as well as, hopefully all find a way to monetize in the Web3 space, because literally anybody can. It just requires attention and time, of course, to invest in learning about this new space, because it's very fast paced. And if you don't keep up with how fast it's evolving, you will also not probably be able to compete in the long term. But at the moment, it's very open for anybody to be a part of this. And I can definitely say, as an entrepreneur who was in the physical world, who then saw the opportunity of what Web3 was able to offer us as a brand to also evolve with the times, which is something that we all need to do. We always need to continue to evolve, otherwise we'll just not really experience any progress, and that's definitely not the way to build a sustainable future. And so, yeah, looking forward to answering the questions. And yeah.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So Luca, like many young people, it took me a while to figure out exactly what I want to do. Maybe it could change again in the future, but I started out doing just normal Web2 businesses in e-commerce. I had an events company as well. At university, I studied pharmacy, so nothing to do with tech. And I think I just want to bring that up because I really hope that maybe there's some more young people in the audience who feel like blockchain can be intimidating. And just to break that kind of stigma that it is accessible if you put in the time. We all have different skills. My skills are not programming. My skills are more to do with people, with marketing, with sales, with building a business. So I do hope that more people do come into the space, even if they're not from the tech sector, because there's a lot of different people needed. But I got into the metaverse mostly because of the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I made a Minecraft server, invited 550 universities around the EU to join this Minecraft server, and we had hundreds of people coming in to play and hang out. So when I then found out that there's something called Decentraland, I immediately recognized that this is something that I'm going to enjoy, and there's also a business opportunity. So I had no money. I couldn't go and buy land and just start building some kind of experience. So instead I thought, what kind of service can I provide to the people who own the land, or to companies that want to get into the metaverse? Young people who have a unique perspective on this technology. We're born into it. We automatically understand that it can be useful. It can provide opportunities. So I just want to encourage a bit more of that.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for being here, by the way, and the amazing panels that we had up to now. I'm learning as well, like everyone here. I'm gonna share a quick story of what brought me into the metaverse. Here comes the pandemic. I'm stuck in my house with my brother. We have nothing to do. I live in London, 10 million of people, and I'm just me and my brother, right? And here I am, I'm in Spatial, which I think is somewhere over there. They were showcasing it. And I find myself speaking with people about the metaverse and NFTs in Miami, in, I don't know, anywhere in the US, in China, and suddenly I'm just hooked, okay? And then I'm like, what do I know? What experiences do I have, and how can I provide a service to this space that is really interesting to me? And then I just look around the room, and it's my brother sitting, right? So I'm thinking, we know about architecture. we know about blockchain, let's bring it to the space. Let's do something about it. And then we just took action. And then we found the correct people. And that's how it started Renovi. It's just pure passion and to meet and connect with people.
Well, in my case, I've been contributing to Ethereum since 2017. And I gotta say that the metaverse and the concept of Web3 was very different back then. You didn't really have the assurance that it was gonna stay, and you didn't really have any resources. And in my case, I'm neither a developer or a community manager. We was like the two types of roles that were actually very relevant in that moment. So I found a little bit my niche in contributing in things like Lucas said, just like operations, business, and actually structuring the projects that those researchers, developers, and community managers were building. And ever since I've been contributing to the space. Previously, I was contributing to the DAO space, so more into governance research. And right now, I'm more contributing into the general decentralization concept to a messaging app and just like doing more like the applying the DAO concept. So not really committing to one thing, but contributing to different communities.
Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing your stories. It's always so inspiring to hear from all of you and how you made your journey to the metaverse. I can so relate to all of your journeys. I've had a pretty similar one to that. And catching up on that, I wanted to ask you, Joy, because I know that you're not just an entrepreneur, but you are a serial entrepreneur. And what I wanted to ask you, and I think that's something that everyone here is going to be curious about, is how do you best manage your time as a serial entrepreneur, and how to best market your product? Thank you so much. I think that is just such an important question, which I've been giving a lot of thought to, because obviously at the start of any entrepreneur's journey, and mine started back in 2018 specifically, and prior to being an entrepreneur who has multiple business partners and working in multiple different fields surrounding specifically luxury goods and the world of fashion, as well as art, and many different services which come with that, including consulting. And I could literally keep listing what I do, but I really want to get to the part where I actually add value in communicating about how I, starting as a solopreneur, had to break down how to manage time efficiently. And for the sake of this panel presentation, I thought the best way to break it down would be to look at it from 3 points, which I say need to be in balance in order to achieve the outcome of good time management. And the way that I would break it down is you need your tools, you need your team, and you need to make sure that you have yourself in check in that process, because it all kind of, I guess you could say, snowballs off from the other. But to start, at the core, the part that you can control the most is yourself. And most importantly, I think that you need to be honest with yourself to really understand what it is you're doing. Obviously, for me, what was quite interesting when I completed my degree, and my background is in entrepreneurship. I completed a degree at the University of Buckingham, which is one of the few venture creation programs of its kind, offered at an undergraduate level called Business Enterprise. And as part of that degree, I had to found my own business, which is where I founded my first luxury new concept development brand. And from there, that was really kind of how I discovered how Web3 was going to benefit me as an entrepreneur in the Web2 space, was because actually it was much more difficult trying to stand out in Web2 versus Web3 as a new brand and as a startup who doesn't necessarily have the very large budget sizes that you would need in Web2, because of how mature Web2 now is, that it's like, the yellow pages, as we can refer to it. So it's much more difficult to stand out that way. But what I did during my degree was I really, really needed to figure out what it was that made me procrastinate, what it was that was holding me back from essentially executing tasks, because I didn't have anybody to delegate that to by being a solopreneur. So I literally by necessity had to learn how to first be honest with myself and figure out how to go about managing my time. Now, what makes it easy is once you're being honest with yourself and you're also being very disciplined with your time, because it does take discipline too. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that part. It really, it takes discipline to do anything well, especially when you really care and you really want to actually be there for the long term, which I do as an entrepreneur. This is what I devote my life to, is building businesses with meaningful brand identities. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to do that without a team. In the bigger picture of things, you know, you can start with a great idea, but without a fitting and good team, again, your startup is probably just not going to have a chance to really evolve in the long term, because unfortunately, the organization's team is, you know, is the make or break of a business. If there's toxic behavior in an organization or a group or so on, or just there are certain individuals who just don't manage to communicate or resolve problems in a pragmatic way, and to remove emotion from business, because really it just does not have a place in the business place in the interest of efficiency. And so you first deal with anything that you need to resolve within yourself and just have that honest dialogue so that you can then go out and actually attract the team members that you need, because you know what you're looking out for. You know, okay, this individual will work well with me because they're able to also relate with me on these points about, let's say, time management, where, you know, they got over their procrastination or whatever it is that is just not balanced in their life, which they need to resolve, like maybe they're not having good sleep patterns, or, you know, whatever it is that causes someone to kind of self-sabotage themselves in the interest of trying to build something. I think it's really important to first focus on what you can control, which is yourself. And from there, then find that optimal team. Of course, the easy part in this equation is that we are just living in such an advanced time that there are endless tools, which are very valuable tools to help you manage your time. We love Miro, for example. We love Asana. Trello's good too. You know, we use Google Drive. We kind of use a combination of everything. There's not any one right formula of tools, but there are tools nevertheless, which I suggest embracing. Of course, I love to write lists as well. I think that for me is a really great way to also memorize what I need to do, is that procedural process of actually writing something out. I feel like it works for me. If it would work for anyone else, I definitely think lists help. But of course, a tool is not useful to anybody if you don't have whatever it is within yourself still remaining unresolved. And so once you get all of that sorted, the fun part about any product and any business, whether it's a service product, digital product, you know, a metaverse, whatever your business may be, whatever your service may be, you need to market yourself, because otherwise the world is not going to know about you. If you're the most incredible product on the planet, you're not really going to be able to convey that to the world if you don't try to make noise. Because, you know, who better to cheer on your own product than you?
But doing a great job at that today, guys. Here, wearing some of most recent creations from the Sad Ones NFT collection. So what a great way to market.
I gotta represent every chance I get.
You've got to.
But I have to say, I think that this is really important for the Web3 space, especially, and literally anybody who is just serious about building a business. Your best friend is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably the most important app right now that everybody really just needs to, again, that procrastination moment that people have, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. Oh, the CV, oh no. That part is what you need to catch when you're doing that and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And to try to maybe almost challenge and break that so that you can experience the opportunity. And the thing about LinkedIn, which is just the way that the community has formed in the space of Web3. And Web3, I refer to everything, you know, beyond just metaverse as well, from NFTs to blockchain, DeFi. It's all fallen under that, you know, that category, you know, the parent category of Web3. And everybody there is on LinkedIn. And anyone who's actually working for any company right now that's even like remotely like worth mentioning, they're on LinkedIn. So if you are not taking your profile serious on LinkedIn to at least make sure it's well presented, you're really missing out on a way to connect with relevant people in your market rather than just praying. And I'm not saying that the volume element of getting reach through things like YouTube ads and Instagram and so on isn't valuable. It absolutely is. You need a hybrid model which takes all of these different tools into account. And it's just an order qualifier in this picture. You need to be online. You need a social presence. It's the way that our world has been basically built now. So again, also the bit about saying, oh, social media and oh, I don't want to do it and trying to delegate it to someone else. No one's ever going to do something as efficient as you could do it. And as an entrepreneur, you know, I wear every single hat that I need to wear, and I'm pretty much wearing all of them at the same time. And I feel like embracing opportunity and just desensitizing to all that it is that holds you back is just the most important part in monetizing this space now, because it's moving fast, but the opportunities are completely there. It's totally open, but LinkedIn is your best friend, and go connect with everyone in the space. Web3 is a very open, accepting, embracing space. You know, it's not, you know, the knife being stabbed in the back kind of vibes. Everybody really wants to cross collaborate, because that's essentially how we build the metaverse and we build the future, is by pooling all of our skills together and finding a way to build that perfect team. But you know, yeah, it starts with you. So I hope that whatever I have said might help someone on their journey. I can only recommend. And so thank you very much once more for having me.
You want to say it? You go for it.
One of our favorite quotes in this space. And it's very important to just think about it this way, because it's true. Your network is your net worth. Who you know and who you are connected to, who can help you build whatever it is you want to build, is quintessential in anything. So connect with people, network, you know, connect with strangers on LinkedIn. The cool thing about LinkedIn is it's professional. So it's like there is that layer of kind of a barrier almost that a lot of the trolls per se that you might find in the Wild West of Instagram, where you just get everybody and anybody from all wakes of life are there. LinkedIn is a little bit different, because, you know, that is kind of the place where people want to go and be professional and connect with professionals. So absolutely go on LinkedIn, connect with all the speakers at this event, because we all want to connect with you. And so, yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Joy. It's always listening to you, and I love saying that every time. To speak to you because one of the things you said that was so inspiring is actually like breaking down the blockchain and, you know, not making it the scary thing that we're always facing, right? So I wanted to ask you about that, about the struggles you have as an entrepreneur and tackling the blockchain and weathering the storm in the industry as well. So maybe you could share a bit about your journey on that and your experience on these topics.
Okay, so like one thing I'd like to mention is when you're looking at blockchain technology, it's not perfect. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes things don't work as you want them to, but it's because the tech is developing. So when you're developing something new, you're obviously starting with, let's make something useful, and then we'll make it pretty later. And I think that kind of mindset is important, even if you're going to start your own project. I personally follow a framework which is called bootstrapping. And when you bootstrap a company, you're basically starting a business without attempting to raise any kind of outside funds. You're just making do with what you have available. And I think that using that framework, it helps you to break down a number of barriers, such as going to LinkedIn and connecting with the right people. Because one thing that this book by Pieter Levels, Maker book, really puts in is that you need to be fast. You know, when you decide we're going to start a company, you should be able to go from idea to MVP in like 30 days. And if your MVP is just a landing page explaining what you're going to do, what you're about, and has an end goal to start building a mailing list, that's enough to already get going from the get-go. So when I look at even blockchain and Web3 and Metaverse, I think that we can apply this bootstrapping pretty well. If you have any kind of idea, basically when you're bootstrapping, you're starting with the idea. So then you're going to move on to building it. Once you're done building it, you're going to move to the launch phase. And it's at the launch where you need to be as resourceful as possible. You need to look for opportunities to speak about your product, get your product in front of the right people. And for me, that place was Discord. So I started out in Discord. I had a really bad website when I started out. It was literally the template from WordPress for architects. And I still made sales with it. So, it's not always about let's perfect everything about my business before I start pushing it out there. If you're solving a problem and you actually have a use case, it doesn't really matter that much if things are not 100% refined, because there's people out there who need you. And Discord for me was a place where I had a chance to meet a lot of the people who were early into the Decentraland. And it was just by repeatedly turning up, on a daily basis, both to socialize, to ask questions, to give advice to other people, that over time I started making friends and getting work from people who kind of respected, admired, or just appreciated that I was giving things a shot. And then just one thing leads to another. You make sure that you're doing good with everybody that you're meeting along the way. You're kind of practicing good karma, where you're giving as much as you can without expecting anything in return. Over time, that builds up, and things do start coming back your way. And you'll be surprised how doing something kind for somebody, 9 months down the line can really move things along. Eventually, I was introduced to the founders of Decentraland, and they started to send clients my way. And it was just a very slow snowball to reach to the point that the company is at today, where we're building for the Metaverse Fashion Week. We just launched the Forever 21 store, and that's been selling wearables all throughout this week. And we never really needed to seek any venture capital, because we're doing things in a way where we didn't need to spend money to make money. We were just leveraging our network and our effort to get there along the way. So I think that if you see what we're doing now, it would look super impressive and like how can I do that? But if you see where like if you take a step back and you see how it just slowly progressed, it doesn't look that scary.
Thank you for that breakdown, honestly, and you're definitely one of the pioneers of metaverse architecture. And I know that there are a lot of students of architecture and design here. And if you have any questions of architecture, of course, you can come to me as well. I'm also a metaverse architect, but Luca is definitely one of the pioneers.
And on that note, actually, I just wanted to bring up something that Joy mentioned also. It is a very welcoming industry. I think if you've worked in other industries, whether it be the wine industry or let's not mention industries, but like you might see that competition is fierce. People are secretive. People try to take employees from each other, or they talk bad about their competition, or they create marketing campaigns where they're slamming each other. The web space is growing so fast, and there's so little people that it doesn't make sense to compete. It makes more sense to be friendly, to make friends. And I'm glad that I did that, because if you looked at it on paper, Fatima and I might look like competitors. But because we decide to collaborate, we're able to grow together rather than go at it alone and make it anyway, but maybe be less happy because you don't have friends.
Yeah, definitely. Very glad to have you as a friend. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. And I wanted to, as a founder of Renovi, which is a platform, NFT platform directed towards architects and 3D designers, I wanted to ask you, what would you suggest to an architect who wants to get started in the metaverse? What is the best practices for them to get started and how to approach the industry?
Right, good question. By the way, before I start answering that question, that creepy website that you created, It was one of the first websites I've ever seen when I was started in the architecture and the metaverse, right? So it wasn't terrible at all. It was what initiated some thoughts for us as well, right? So it mattered. So your bootstrapping technique literally works.
100%. I mean, I want
to exactly. So now when it comes to architects and how to enter the space, I think I will echo what everybody said on the panel, and it's the fact that in the simplest way that I can put it is get involved, all right? And I think that's what you guys have said, is like get involved on Twitter, get involved on Discord, and it's as simple as that, and ask questions. And to tell you again a story, because I really like stories, the lady that we were talking about yesterday that actually got a job with you, Fatima,
Yep.
right? That was a pure example of a girl getting involved, asking about architecture, getting involved on Twitter, reaching out to me. I didn't answer, I was too busy. So she reached out on Discord. I've noticed her, and then she reached out on LinkedIn. So she was one of the people that was getting involved because it was an area that she was interested in. She was interested to know about, obviously, the Metaverse Fashion Week, because we were getting involved as well, and she wanted to know more about it, and she was eager with questions. So she reached out everywhere until she found me, and she did it, right? And then when I couldn't help, like Lucas said, we're a welcoming community. So I said, you know what? I know a girl, Fatima, and they have an amazing Spaces DAO company that they created. And I'm like, why don't you reach out to her? And then as it seems, and I found out yesterday when I reached out to Fatima and we were drinking beers, she employed her, right? So all I will say is, I don't know, it's as simple as going on Twitter and putting architecture and metaverse together and see what you're gonna find. And then it's as simple as sending a question. Who cares who they are or how many followers they have? Like, if they're true to what they're creating, they're gonna answer at some point. And I think that's what is really interesting here. And I think at some point I answered as well to this lady, and she was able to connect. That's all.
Thank you so much, honestly, and really appreciate connecting Lynn with us. Good job on that one. Thank you, Monica, for joining us. And, you know, as someone who was an early adopter of the space, we're so curious to understand your experiences within the industry. And one of the topics that we really want to break down is the concept of the DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. And, you know, it has been known as the best way to create a community and really the future of work in terms of how we're going to structure our companies. So what I wanted you to help us understand a bit further is what do we define as a DAO, and how can we break that down? And why do you think DAOs are actually so successful in creating that sense of community?
I think I don't think there's anyone in the world right now who is able to define what's a DAO, because we're still figuring it out. There's not a single software platform or a community that you can take as a reference as like the example of DAO. And the reason that happens is also because communities are different. And if DAOs represent communities and ways that communities interact with each other, it's hard that there's like a one definition for it, right? So if I think about like what I would tell people of the difference between the communities that we see on Instagram, the communities that we see from gamers, for example, or physical communities as well, from DAOs, I think like the main difference is that the DAO is kind of the algorithm that defines how people are going to be rewarded to be part of it. And to connect it with the concept of a business, for example, businesses are some sort of DAOs, but they're like closed DAOs, where the board or the shareholders are the ones who are coordinating how people get rewarded and who enters and exits the DAO. So in a DAO, which is not like a centralized company, the difference is that instead of having like a company structure, you have more of an economy structure. So your IP and the people that you employ are not really like what defines your value or your product or your clients. They're all part of that economy, and everyone gets rewarded to be part of it. from that basis, you can set all sorts of incentives. You can set all sorts of governance structures, and you can set all sorts of purposes for the DAOs. You have examples in the Web3 space where DAOs are for decentralized finance. So like Yearn Finance. Yearn Finance was created at the beginning from one person that co-founded with another person, and they were the central part of that DAO at the beginning. But then the community grew. They decided that they didn't really want to get involved anymore, and the project still exists. And there's like a whole team managing people ops matters. There's a whole team building new strategies for decentralized finances. And they're all like coordinating among each other with the incentives that were set in their different governance proposals. You also have like examples of DAOs that are for solidarity reasons. So there's like Givet or the token engineering community. Both of them are people that they just like gather people together. So the traditional volunteers that we understand, it's like, okay, so now that in this case, instead of like, we're creating a decentralized finance product or we're building something together, here it's just like giving something, giving a skill, promoting an article, or just like helping another DAO with conflict resolution. And just to like contribute whatever you can contribute, we will reward you with the token of the DAO. And that slowly, I've seen like DAOs like One Hive that was actually founded by a colleague of mine at Oregon. Like I joined One Hive like 3 months ago just to check out how was the community going. And I participated in a call, and they asked me like how I got to know One Hive, and I was like, yeah, Luke was like part of the Iron One team. And the answer from the guy was like, oh yeah, Luke is a nice guy. And I was like, oh, but Luke is the founder of this whole community, this whole DAO. Like how come like your only answer is like, he's a nice guy? Because he's no longer part of it. And like kind of the DAO outgrew him in a way. And that's the whole point. That's what happens with economies. Like when you think about the European economy, of the American economy, it doesn't really depend on a specific government, or it doesn't depend on specific people having specific nationalities. All those are liquid, all those change over time, but there's like a governance system, whether that's democracy or whether that's like the currency, that kind of defines how this economy is going to work and it's going to reward people at the moment. And I think that's like kind of a long definition of a DAO. But like to bring in more from the abstract level and definition level to something more tangible, a DAO at the end, it's a community. So in order for you to build a DAO, don't think about like building a DAO itself, think about building a community, getting people together to contribute for a common purpose. And from there, you'll figure out like how you want to reward people, how you want to make decisions together, and what tools you want to use. I will also strongly recommend people not to try to reinvent the wheels. There's like tons of tools out there to coordinate. And also probably you don't need to use all decentralized tools for your community, right? So there are decentralized messaging apps. There are ways that you can create your token and grant it to people, but people still use Discord because it's the most comfortable way for you to just like interact with your community. People still use Twitter because it's the most comfortable way for you to broadcast news and engage with people outside of Discord. So just like also think about like the first thing that I said, that nobody knows what a DAO is. It's very early. So also don't try to like pick your battles, and don't try to, building a community is already quite hard. So don't try to like reinvent things that are not part of the core of building a community with a common purpose.
Fantastic advice. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone in the panel. It was really like lovely listening to you all. And I want to open the floor to any questions that we might have here or on Zoom or the Metaverse. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all for that. I'm actually a fifth-year architecture student, and something we have really been focused on has been sustainability. And this isn't something just architecture or design focused, but the whole world is tackling this, and entrepreneurship plays a big role in all of that. What new dimension do you think Metaverse can open, or if it can open, for this issue?
On sustainability, there's one project I came across that was very interesting, where they're using like DeFi protocols to basically allow people to purchase tokens. By purchasing tokens, each token is pegged to carbon credits. And what's the point of that is to drive up the cost of carbon so that companies that use carbon credits to offset their carbon emissions are actually losing more and more money because of these kind of structures that are being created to drive up the price of carbon credits. I think there are some other kind of sustainability projects happening. And a lot of times people say, but hey, blockchain, doesn't it, waste a lot of energy and such? But in the newer chains, they don't. So in that sense, that's already been solved.
And I'll say that as well is with regards to the chains that exist out there, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of all the chains and I understand the environmental impact that a lot of the chains might have. But as Renovi, for example, building something which was for architects, and usually within the architects' remit of what they want to create, it needs to be sustainable. We realized really early on that we needed to shift from Ethereum, for example, and go into something like Polygon, just because we needed to be aligned with the architects and what they want. Even if we are within the digital space, we needed to be correct towards the architects that are out there. So that's why we went with Polygon, and that made our project more sustainable, and that made our project being embraced by the architectural world, and then more people coming to ours.
And I think we should fix where our energy comes from as well, rather than think like, hey, it's the problem of the blockchain. We should fix, the power stations.
Yeah. And I just want to add on to what you guys have said, because I think sustainability it comes from different perspectives as well, right? So one of the things we try to look at a lot is the carbon footprint of these technologies and the computational power it takes. A lot of people are working from home and working remote, and this virtual trend, like this digitalization of our lives, actually really helps the planet as well, because you're not really traveling as much, you're not having your routine, a day-to-day routine of going to work or whatnot. So you have to look at it in the whole perspective of things as well, like taking into account all the different factors that contribute to climate. Yeah.
And I think I'd add just one more detail here, because it is relevant to any like design student, whether it's architecture, whatever your specific focus is, especially if you're focusing on kind of 3D, is that we are at a point now where the 3D modeling softwares that are available for us to use as entrepreneurs to basically showcase our products to the real world, all of a sudden has this amazing opportunity to do so first digitally before then needing to go through a production run per se. I mean, I speak very much from the perspective of the fashion industry. And so when you think about the fashion industry and you think how much waste is incurred in production, but not just that, also the kind of amount of time that's kind of lost in the process of sampling and so on, that's something that we can in many ways now kind of reverse engineer and start with product testing first digitally, where you're literally looking at like a hyper realistic garment per se that basically looks exactly one-to-one like the product that you could buy in a shop. But the point is, when you also look at how many products get missed because they just didn't align with what the market was demanding, and you think about that waste that gets incurred also, because I mean, of course, stock is waste if you don't manage to clear it. And again, that's then, we're going to end up on a landfill or so, and that continues to contribute to a very polluting industry, basically. And I just think that through both the physical realm and the digital realm working together to create those kind of bridged immersive experiences where, garments, specifically from the fashion industry perspective, can be both digital and physical, as we call it, phygital, where you're twinning essentially an item to its digital twin. And then of course we then can decide as as the entrepreneurs, as the creators, as the visionaries of what we want that whole experience to be like, what kind of world we want it to take place in, whether it's, you know, your own metaverse that you as a brand build so that you have full like quality control over how the visuals are, or whether you want to go to Sandbox or Decentraland, because, you know, those are just the kind of public metaverses that you also want to be in, you know, for the reasons of, you know, being there and also really like connecting with everyone else and not just only being close to your private community. And I think that there's a benefit of having both. Actually, one that you as a brand can create, which aligns with your identity, and then also still embracing where the public goes though, because it's the same as like any social media platform. If you want to connect with people in a new, much more immersive way that goes beyond just being a page and a profile picture and like kind of more Web 2, almost like you could even say it's even more kind of ancient when you think about how like our profiles on like LinkedIn, Facebook look versus how it looks when you get to be your avatar in the metaverse and you get to connect with people and you could maybe put together your perfect team who you meet digitally. And you're like, oh, wow, I could have never imagined meeting all of these people if I was reliant on the location that I live. So you're not restricted to that anymore either. So I think that's really what it takes from a sustainability perspective, is to try to see how we can maximize at the point that we're at with technology while still accepting the fact that, you know, there's still real physical things in the world, but we just need to come up with new practices that help us produce and incur like as minimal amount of waste as possible, and to just keep reducing that down, because we've just got a great way of finding out what the market wants and then producing.
Thank you.
Okay, so going along with the field of architecture, architecture as we know it nowadays, it's something that it's shaped by concepts such as gravity or physics or materiality. So what do you think would be these new aspects that would shape the way we know architecture in worlds such as the metaverse?
Can I take this? I love this question. I'm not an architect, by the way.
I'm going to continue.
That's my
on
favorite
it.
question, by the way. That's exactly it. I had a really interesting discussion at the University of Nicosia with architecture, the architecture department over there. And they were like, what is going to happen to architecture now that we don't have limitations, right? You can do anything. It's like, are we going to have a block of what we can do? Because in the real world, architecture is born by the limitations that you have, the space, the planning permissions, gravity, anything, the weather. And now you're coming into the metaverse and people are thinking, I need to put a ceiling on this. Like, do you really? Right? Oh, I need to put stairs on this. Do you really? Right? Do you really need the columns? Do you really need to? You can make it float. You can put it underwater. You can put it underground. You do whatever you want, right? So I think it's this openness, right, is gonna freak us out for a bit, right? So that's why you see a lot of designs right now that are close to what is possible in real life, but are gonna move beyond that. And you're gonna see designs that are really out there and they defy any law that you might think of, right? But to that point as well, we have other laws that we need to think about. And when I'm thinking of Decentraland, and you will know it really well, Farima as well, we have polygons now, right? How many polygons can you put in a 3D model and how can you make it work so it's accessible to everyone through their Chrome browser to run on Decentraland, and the limitations of how big the land needs to be in order for your building to be this tall. For example, this building is 180 meters tall, right? In Decentraland, you will need more than 40 parcels just to recreate this building, right? And I think it should be 50 or something. 50 parcels, that will be about, could be more than 2 or 3 millions or more just in virtual land, right? I cannot even imagine. So you have other limitations that you need to think now. So again, you're not free, right? You just have different restrictions, but it's cool. It's the future. And I think that's what excites a lot of the architects that are coming into the space, is a new challenge. And a lot of the younger architects that are naming themselves meta architects now, they're so into this. And I'm going on a tangent, I apologize. but you already have the skills, right? You already create on programs that can build the metaverse. You already create on Rhino, Blender, Twinmotion, you name it, Unreal Engine. They're the programs that they teach you at university, at school, and then you just take them and create virtual worlds right now. And that's what's really awesome about the metaverse.
Thank you. Go, Rika, go. I'll let you go. Yeah. Go. You want to answer the question?
That is honestly summed up pretty nicely, I think. I was just going to add to that is like you mentioned the polygon limits. One thing that we're doing is actually using programming, developer programs, that's me, to basically when you're a user on the property, you could walk up to the door. As soon as you get to the door, you press enter, and the program deloads what's outside, puts you inside, and loads the scene for you to be inside the building. So even with polygon limits, there are ways to go around them in ways that, you know, in real life, you would never think of, you know, you'd never plan to do. I wanted to just mention three things. Can I mention them quickly?
Of course,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So like, I just want to mention, since it's metaverse, like, so I wanted to mention something I believe about Decentraland. I do think of Decentraland to be quite similar to Bitcoin in many ways, being such that it's got a very limited supply. It was the first, has a very strong brand, and that gives it its position in the market as we know it today. And then, of course, you could see that there are other projects whose technology might be moving faster or have skipped steps, but maybe those limited supply and strong brand could keep its value and position today. That's obviously an opinion. The second thing I wanted to mention was a very interesting project that is called NFT Worlds. NFT Worlds is basically Minecraft. So it's Minecraft as a game engine, vanilla Minecraft at that, you know, just the normal Minecraft that everyone has on their PC. Over 1 billion people have Minecraft on their PC or laptop or PlayStation. And what they've done with NFT Worlds is just build a blockchain layer on top of Minecraft. So they didn't have to worry about whether it's a fun game. They don't have to worry about whether the game works. It's a game everyone knows and loves. And they just added the tokenization to it. And so far, it seems to have been a big success. Then the third one is one called Kalau. I think Kalau is very interesting because it's on the AVAX network. And if the Avalanche reaches its goal of becoming, you know, a regulated place for institutional investors to put their money in, I think the Kalau metaverse could really have some good potential as well.
We're just in time. I want to invite Cristina, to our MC, to give her closing remarks, and thank you so much. And if you have any more questions, you can find us during the networking session. We'd love to answer them. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the best is yet to come, because that's where the actual real life interaction starts. I just wanted to wrap up and just quickly by saying how, you know, in panel 1, there was a talk about marketing and branding, and yet, funnily enough, there was a lot of talk about ethics and regulation and who has the control. Panel 2 was about gaming and the future of gaming in the metaverse. And I was very kind of nicely surprised about how refreshing it was to hear Iskren. I remember that he mentioned that the future is doing what we are doing right now, and maybe also about vindicating the idea of motivation. You have to do what you like, and that's what gamers do. And I thought that was refreshing. And in panel 3, the emphasis on community, DAOs versus traditional businesses. But above all, I think that it was the opening of something which I think that is great, which is the idea that get involved and ask questions to be part of the community. That's the way entrepreneurs in the metaverse operate. And I would say, don't take no for an answer. And especially the opportunities for architects and designers. They have the skills and there are plenty of new challenges for them. So it's a great and optimistical kind of note that I want to leave here. So thank you very much to all of you for being here. Thank you to our university and our School of Architecture and Design. And thank you to Yingzi, Yuan, and Fatima Monferrand, who have invited us to organize this. And I'm gonna leave you with Yingzi, Yuan, because he wants to tell you that there is a POP NFT so that you can get